Trippie Redd just got hit with the harshest blow of his life, a life sentence for the shocking murder of 6ix9ine's girlfriend. And honestly,
oh no, we definitely got footage at this mom crib. She live in building 18 out here.
People aren't even surprised anymore. He had been lurking around, threatening 6ix9ine's family for months. But here's the big question. How did cops actually pin the murder on him? Let's break it down step by step, because this isn't just another rap beef gone wrong. This was the day the game turned deadly, August 17th, 2025. Lock that date in your mind because hip-hop will never forget it. That was the day the mask slipped and the streets showed their ugliest face. The victim, Ariela Lango Maya Polanco, a 29-year-old Dominican beauty, bartender, and the woman tied directly to one of rap's most polarizing names, Tekashi 6ix9ine. The scene was straight out of a nightmare. Early morning, around 8 a.m., cops pulled up thinking it was just another stalled car on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon, New York.
Tekashi 6ix9ine, ex-girlfriend or side chick or whatever kind of relationship they got, but they had a relationship. Even though I don't think they like boyfriend, girlfriend, but I do think they got a relationship. She was shot and killed in New York. I believe yesterday, the other day, leaving outside of the club, sitting in her car, a gunman murdered her. You know, some people believe she was the intended target.
Instead, they walked into pure horror. Inside a sleek black Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon was Ariela's body, lifeless, riddled with gunshot wounds. The ride itself looked like it had been through a war zone. Bullet holes all over, the driver's side window shattered to pieces. Police didn't mince words. They said she was definitely targeted, no random act of violence. And the fact that both the FBI and Westchester County authorities jumped on this case immediately tells you everything. Now let me break down who Ariela really was. Because she wasn't just some random girl caught in the wrong place. Ariela was a straight-up boss who carved her own lane, stacking over 550,000 followers on Instagram and moving like a star in her own right. By day, she was bartending at Icon, New York, one of Manhattan's hottest celebrity hangouts where the rich and famous pulled up to flex. But she wasn't just mixing drinks.
This is the female. We've seen Cardi B post her, yes. We've seen Cardi B post her. We've seen 6ix9ine post her. We've seen the blogs post her. This is somebody of some type of relevance in this loop that you people love so much. Yes, and one thing I want people to look at this, right? Look, pay attention.
She was rubbing shoulders with the elite, sliding into 6ix9ine's music videos and whispering rumors at her as one of his main women. Still, they kept their situation low-key, which only made people more curious. Here's the chilling part. Just hours before tragedy struck, Ariela was on her Instagram story, looking flawless, vibing at Icon like it was just another lit night. No one watching could have guessed she was about to become the headline of the morning news. From champagne and selfies to a crime scene inside a G-Wagon, that switch-up is ice cold. When word hit the streets, the whole hip-hop world was stunned. Fans couldn't believe it, and for once, even 6ix9ine, the rainbow-haired rapper whose government name is Daniel Hernandez, broke character. Instead of hiding behind silence, he went raw on Instagram. He called Ariela a tremendous woman with the most beautiful heart, and for the very first time, publicly admitted she was his girl. Think about that for a second. This is a man who kept his personal life locked up tighter than a vault, suddenly pouring out his heart for millions to see, because the woman he cared for was taken in the most brutal execution-style way possible. But 6ix9ine wasn't the only one showing love for the fallen queen. The tributes poured in heavy, from Icon, New York, the very spot where she hustled, to the starlets at Opus Lounge. And even Cardi B herself dropped a message, calling Ariela a proud Dominican beauty. Every nightlife circle she touched made it clear, Ariela wasn't just another pretty face.
You said, my dad, honey. What are you talking about?
What up, Blood D?
What are you talking about, bro?
What you mean what I'm talking about?
What dad homies you talking about?
Nigga, all your dad homies, nigga. I don't give a who I'm talking about. All them niggas. Fuck
who you talking about?
You
who
ain't your dad homies. What you talking about? I'm gangster like that.
Oh, you gangster like
you
that.
know I'm gangster like that.
Where you at?
I'm in Brooklyn. Fuck me where I'm at. I'm in Brooklyn.
Alright, say less. Stay in Brooklyn.
I'ma stay in Brooklyn.
Alright, bet. Say less.
Yo, Trippie, listen. Michael White. Fuck Michael.
She had that magnetic energy, the type that turned every room into her stage. People remembered her not just for her looks, but for the way she commanded attention the second she walked in. But here's where the whole story flips into straight darkness. The second word hit the block that Ariella got taken out. The whispers started flying, and all those whispers pointed in one direction. Streets were buzzing that this wasn't random at all, that her murder tied directly back to 6ix9ine's messy history, from his gang ties to his endless courtroom drama. Rumors swirled hard that Ariella was a targeted hit.
All right, say less. Stay in Brooklyn.
I'ma stay in Brooklyn, nigga.
All right, bet. Say less. You on the way.
Yo, Trippie, listen.
You on the
Michael
way.
White. Well, Michael, you and your dad homies, nigga. Oh, I'm talking about nigga, stay there, nigga. Of course I'm gonna stay here, nigga. Motherfucker and your dad homies. What you think, I'm pussy? You and your dad homies. Nigga.
Some even claiming it was retaliation against Tekashi himself. One chilling version of the story had people saying 6ix9ine was supposed to be in that G-Wagon with her when the shooters rolled up, but he somehow dodged death that night. And let's be real, it makes sense why people believed it. Despite all the platinum plaques and Billboard hits, 6ix9ine stacked up more enemies than almost any rapper in history. After he flipped on the 9-tray Gangsta Bloods in that infamous 2019 RICO trial, he wore the snitch label like a scarlet letter. Combine that with his non-stop trolling, clowning every respected artist in the game, and he painted a huge target on his back. But out of all the beefs, one stood out as the ugliest, the rawest, and the deadliest. His war with none other than Trippie Redd. Back in 2017, these two were locked in like brothers, dropping tracks together during the SoundCloud wave. Those early collabs were the fuel that helped launch Trippie's come up in the SoundCloud rap scene, while 6ix9ine, still just a wild kid out of Brooklyn, was getting his first real shine through that link up.
On Eastside Fire, non-motivated brim, nigga. Say with your chest, push ass, boy.
You know that.
You a bitch, bro. And you will not put hands to me, my nigga. Stop acting like you really about this life, bro. I gave you your hit, nigga. I made you, bro. Everything you do, I get a check from you.
But that so-called brotherhood didn't last long. It twisted into one of the nastiest, most personal rap beefs of this generation. The first cracks showed in August 2017, when ugly details about 6ix9ine's 2015 legal case surfaced online. A Twitter account exposed his involvement with a 13-year-old, and the backlash was instant. Trippie wasted no time distancing himself. He went on Instagram and dropped a bomb, flat out saying, 1,400 don't promote pedophiles. That single statement wasn't just shade, it was war. From that point on, the friendship was dead, and what replaced it was pure hostility.
Oh no, we definitely got footage at this nigga mom crib. She live in building 18 out here.
The tension spilled off the internet and into the streets, building into one of the most volatile rivalries hip-hop had seen in years. Then came November 11th, 2017, the night things turned bloody. Trippie was staying at a hotel in New York when he got ambushed by a group of hitters linked to 6ix9ine.
Building 18 out here, you dig?
Lucas.
And if you try me again, cause you know I'm hacking that phone that I got, right? I'm in that bitch. It's over.
Yeah, we know.
I'ma know everything.
The niggas right.
I'ma know all that.
The attack left Trippie rattled but not silent. He immediately jumped on Instagram Live, putting 6ix9ine on blast and accusing him of setting up the whole thing. He called him every name under the sun, weirdo, rapist, and worse, throwing gasoline on an already blazing feud. And the craziest part? Years later, during his 2019 federal testimony, 6ix9ine confirmed it himself.
Where the light of that, B? Where the light at, son? We in Brooklyn. I pulled up to this mama crib last night and bumped gum on, nigga. I pulled up to this, hey, you know that address he be trying to give y'all in his interviews? I pulled up to this mama crib and bumped gum on, with the straps out, blowing big dope.
Don't think you don't got footage, you just ain't stupid.
He admitted under oath that he ordered the hit on Trippie out of pure jealousy, furious that Trippie got signed to the label before him. By 2018, the beef was spiraling out of control. Both sides were locked in, trading insults on social media and lacing their tracks with venom. Trippie clapped back hard with I Kill People, featuring Chief Keef and Tato, a record that threw direct shots at 6ix9ine and made it crystal clear this was war on wax. But the real fireworks came during their Instagram Live face-offs. The whole internet was glued to the screen, watching them spit pure hatred at each other in real time. These weren't playful jabs or staged theatrics. You could feel it in the energy. This was no ordinary rap beef. This was personal, and it was getting deadly serious. Then 6ix9ine crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. He went straight for Trippie's dead homies, telling him, "Faust, you're dead people." In street culture, that's the nuclear button. Once you disrespect someone's fallen friends or family, you're basically begging for retaliation. At that point, everybody knew this feud had gone way past music. It was murder-level beef. And the craziest part, the violence was already spilling into real life. In federal court, 6ix9ine admitted his crew tracked Trippie from a video shoot all the way back to his hotel. That's where Anthony Harv Ellison, one of Tekashi's muscle men, walked up and cracked Trippie right in the mouth. By this point, the beef wasn't just bars and fists. It was psychological warfare. Things turned uglier when women got dragged into the crossfire. In September 2018, 6ix9ine went nuclear by posting videos with Trippie's ex, Alec, clowning him and basically showing off that he had smashed. That move wasn't just petty. It was calculated humiliation designed to break Trippie's pride in front of the whole internet. But it didn't stop there. In June 2020, right after 6ix9ine walked free from prison, Alec reignited the fire by uploading old footage of herself in bed with Tekashi, with his ex-manager Shotty snapping photos in the room. It was messy, it was dirty, and it pushed their feud into twisted territory that was way past music beef. Every time these two locked horns on Instagram Live, you could see the venom, the body language, the tone, the pure street-level hate. This wasn't performance art or fake publicity. This was war, and it was escalating with every move. So when the news of Ariella's murder hit the block, people immediately connected the dots. The whispers got louder. Was this the final chapter in one of the deadliest rap rivalries ever? The timing was too perfect, the blood between them too bitter, the history too violent for it to feel like coincidence. From the hood corners to the trap houses, the talk was the same. Maybe this wasn't random at all. Maybe Ariella's death was the breaking point in a war that had already claimed loyalty, friendships, and bodies. The streets don't lie. And with every revelation, it looked more like the beef between 6ix9ine and Trippie Redd had crossed into its darkest phase yet. Ariella catching those bullets wasn't random. It revealed the disturbing pattern of just how far this street war had spiraled. This wasn't some back-and-forth rap beef for clout. This was real life. And the trail of threats, violence, and obsession painted a chilling picture that could only end in bloodshed. One of the scariest glimpses into how twisted this rivalry had become came during one of Trippie Redd's Instagram live sessions. At first, people thought it was just trolling, but looking back now, his words hit way different. They feel like warnings nobody took seriously. In one infamous 2019 stream, Trippie crossed every line of respect by bringing up 6ix9ine's family. He bragged about knowing where Tekashi's mom lived and made it sound like he had been keeping tabs on her movements. That's not rap talk, that's intimidation on a level that bleeds straight into criminal territory. Once you target family, you're not just beefing anymore, you're plotting. And it didn't stop there. In the same live, Trippie pushed the obsession even further. He claimed he had hacked into 6ix9ine's phone, monitoring his messages and calls like some kind of street-level spy. If true, that meant he wasn't just beefing, he was running surveillance, planning, and scheming. Think about how wild that is. Cyber-stalking mixed with real-world intimidation. That's a deadly cocktail, and when you connect it to what eventually happened to Ariella, it all starts to feel like part of a much bigger setup. Trippie wasn't just talking reckless, he laid out detailed play-by-plays of criminal behavior that still sound insane today. He bragged about pulling up to 6ix9ine's mother's house with armed shooters, blasting Tekashi's hit Gummo as some twisted soundtrack to psychological warfare. And the wildest part? He claimed to have it all recorded. That's not trolling. That's a street confession. The implications were terrifying. Imagine the mindset it takes to not only stalk your enemy's family, but to do it with guns, music, and cameras, like it was some sick performance piece. This wasn't clout chasing. This was intimidation, surveillance, and premeditation all wrapped into one. The type of energy that should have had the feds knocking on his door right then and there. But it gets even darker. Trippie seemed to enjoy the psychological torture. He threatened to leak compromising material on 6ix9ine, personal stuff that had nothing to do with music. The pattern was clear. Every move was more dangerous, more obsessive, and more destructive than the last. By this point, he wasn't just beefing, he was unraveling. And when you stack all that history against what happened to Ariella, the stalking, the threats, the confessions, it suddenly doesn't feel like random street violence anymore. It feels like the tragic end to years of obsession spiraling out of control. On the flip side, Tekashi wasn't innocent either. During his 2019 federal trial, he flat out admitted under oath that he ordered the 2017 attack on Trippie. This wasn't just street gossip or wild speculation. This was a federal court confession. 6ix9ine openly admitted that he used his 9-tray gangsta blood connections to put hands on his rival. Under oath, he revealed that his crew tailed Trippie from a video shoot back to his hotel, where Anthony Harv Ellison ran up and cracked Trippie in the face. That testimony laid the foundation. Both sides were knee-deep in this street war. Tekashi proved he was willing to order hits, while Trippie's own rants and surveillance claims showed he was plotting retaliation just as viciously. What emerged from all this wasn't just rap beef. It was the psychological profile of two men obsessed with destroying each other. Every Instagram live confrontation turned into a boiling pot of rage. They'd go back and forth for ages, each getting louder, wilder, and more extreme. And yeah, sometimes the tech would glitch, the audio would cut out, and fans would clown it as some of the corniest moments in rap beef history. Even Complex magazine laughed at those janky streams. But here's what most people missed. Behind the corny glitches was raw obsession. These two couldn't stop watching, waiting, and confronting each other, even when the world was laughing at them. And then came the women factor, which pushed the hatred to an even darker level. When 6ix9ine started flaunting his fling with Trippie's ex, Shorty AX, it wasn't just about clout or smashing. It was psychological warfare. The use of women as weapons in their feud showed something chilling. Both men were willing to drag innocent people into their war. Instead of keeping the conflict between themselves, they targeted the people closest to each other, turning relationships into tools of humiliation and revenge. And that twisted dynamic would become crucial in understanding how things spiraled all the way to Ariella's death. Trippie's record of violence only made the story darker. Back in June 2018, he was arrested in Atlanta on aggravated assault and battery charges after a young woman claimed he pistol whipped her during a heated dispute. Police said she had a visible knot on her head, which gave them enough to book him. The reported trigger? Yet again, drama tied to his main girl. And that wasn't even an isolated case. Just weeks earlier, in May 2018, Trippie had already been arrested in Cobb County after a brawl with rapper FDM Grady. According to reports, the fight kicked off because Trippie and his boy Lil Wop allegedly disrespected Grady's girlfriend, leading to a violent showdown. The pattern couldn't be clearer. Trippie consistently let conflicts over women or perceived disrespect spiral into violence. This wasn't just about clout, rap, or beef. It was personal, emotional, and often physical. And when you stack those past arrests with his escalating threats against 6ix9ine, plus the disturbing surveillance and intimidation tactics he bragged about, it all built a profile of someone who was fully capable of extreme, calculated violence when pushed too far. When you line it all up, Trippie's surveillance habits, his threats against 6ix9ine's family, his violent history with women, and his obsessive behavior, you see the perfect storm that was bound to explode into bloodshed. But even with that background, the authorities weren't locked on just one theory. They were chasing multiple angles, and each one made the story darker. One theory floating around was that Ariella had ties to a man named Nada Cartier, described as a suspected gang boss connected to Operation Mayweather, a federal probe into the lost 50-block, 14 inches criminal network. Word on the street, either Ariella was targeted for her connection to Cartier, or she got caught in a hail of bullets meant for him. Another street rumor tied the hit directly back to 6ix9ine's past as a federal cooperator. Ever since his infamous testimony in the 2019 9-tray RICO case, Tekashi had a permanent target on his back. Some whispered that Ariella's murder wasn't about her at all. It was payback meant to send a brutal message to Tekashi. To understand why, you gotta look at how 6ix9ine even got tied up with 9-tray in the first place. Back in 2017, he didn't join the gang through old-school initiation. His manager, Kafano Shotty Jordan, plugged him in. Tekashi's role wasn't to ride for the set, it was to bankroll it. He funneled money that bought guns and resources, and in return, he got protection and the street credibility his image needed. And here's the coldest truth. 6ix9ine admitted he was using it all as a formula for fame. He testified that packing his videos with 9-tray members draped in red rags, like in the visuals for Gummo, gave him the gritty street aesthetic that fans ate up. His words were blunt. "I knew I had a formula. That's what people like." Basically, he confessed to pimping out gang culture as a marketing scheme while the real street soldiers took on all the risks. The cracks in Tekashi's gang life started showing when the 9 Trey Bloods turned on themselves. Internal politics got messy, factions clashed, and loyalties collapsed. The breaking point came in July 2018 when Anthony Harv Ellison and an accomplice pulled a move straight out of a movie. They kidnapped 6ix9ine, pistol whipped him, and snatched over $365,000 worth of jewelry off him. Tekashi managed to escape by sprinting through the streets of Bedford-Stuyvesant, banging on doors until a stranger helped him get to a police precinct. That night was a wake-up call. His so-called brothers in 9 Trey weren't just disloyal, they were willing to rob or even kill him. And that realization set the stage for one of the biggest betrayals hip-hop has ever seen. When 6ix9ine was arrested in November 2018 on federal racketeering charges, he was staring down a minimum of 47 years. But less than 24 hours later, he flipped. He pled guilty to 9 counts and agreed to cooperate with federal prosecutors, instantly trading street loyalty for survival. His cooperation was unlike anything the culture had ever witnessed. For 3 straight days in September 2019, Tekashi testified in court, laying out 9 Trey's entire structure and criminal operations like he was reading from a playbook. He detailed shootings, robberies, assaults, and drug deals, explaining how the crew used violence to enforce respect and keep their money flowing. But the most explosive moment came when Tekashi started naming names. In a move that shook the industry, he identified Cardi B and Jim Jones as alleged 9 Trey affiliates, throwing hip-hop royalty into the fire. He even pointed at Trippie Redd, testifying that Trippie was tied to the 5'9" Brims, a rival blood set. His words sealed fates. The testimony led to heavy sentences. Anthony Harv Ellison got 24 years, Aljamiah Nuke Mack pulled 17 years, and Kafano Shotty Jordan, Tekashi's former manager and the man who once vouched for him, was handed 15 years. The reaction from 9 Trey after Tekashi flipped was exactly what you'd expect. Pure betrayal mixed with venom. In court, Shotty admitted, 6ix9ine broke every code, but I forgive the little dude. After all that, it's all good. But forgiveness wasn't the vibe everywhere. Wiretaps caught Mel Murda Jones spitting fury. "We created you," he said, hinting Tekashi had a deadly reckoning coming his way. And yet, the courts went light on him. In December 2019, 6ix9ine was sentenced to just 2 years behind bars, with 13 months already credited. At a $35,000 fine, 5 years of supervised release, and 1,000 hours of community service. By April 2020, thanks to his asthma and COVID-19 risks, Tekashi walked free to home confinement. The man who once faced 47 years was suddenly back in the world, but with a target on his back bigger than ever. Here's the connection. This wasn't just about 9 Trey being mad. Tekashi's decision to snitch sent shockwaves across the entire hip-hop community. The snitch label wasn't just bad PR. It was a death sentence in street politics. Anyone who wanted clout or revenge now had his name circled in red. And it didn't stop with him. That stain spilled onto everyone around him. Friends, family, girlfriends, anyone tied to Tekashi instantly became a potential target. Because here's the thing. When you cooperate with the feds and help send men away for decades, you don't just make enemies. You create generational grudges. Brothers, cousins, homies of the ones you testified against, they all feel the betrayal. And in the unforgiving code of the streets, no snitching is rule number 1. Tekashi shattered it in front of the world. Industry heavyweights slammed him, street figures blacklisted him, and the whispers of revenge only got louder. Which brings us right back to Ariella. Theories swirled fast, some claiming it was mistaken identity, others calling it random street heat, but cops shut that down quick, saying she was likely targeted. Meanwhile, Trippie Redd was out here dealing with a whole different set of problems in 2025, and none of them looked like the profile of a man on the run from murder charges. In July 2025, he got picked up at Miami International Airport while trying to board a flight to Europe. The arrest wasn't some dramatic takedown. It came from an old 2023 Miami-Dade bench warrant tied to nothing more than an invalid driver's license case. Trippie was processed at the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center and walked free after posting a measly $150 bond. The only real damage? He had to cancel his slot at the Liz Ardent Music Festival in Belgium on July 5th. Instead of panicking, Trippie turned it into a joke. On DJ Academic's Instagram, he trolled about the arrest, writing, "Was going to pick up 600 kBU. 2 shows, SMH. That's Lil Thou and my bond was 150 LMAO, but the news played my song. I made 750 off that. It was classic Trippie, brushing off the drama and spinning it back into a flex. Hardly the moves of a man supposedly ducking homicide indictments or running from the feds." The arrest also came just weeks after a major personal shift. On June 16, 2025, Trippie and fellow rapper Coi Leray welcomed their daughter, Mio. The couple, whose rocky relationship had been on and off since 2019, was still making headlines over cheating rumors and reconciliation drama. For Trippie, 2025 looked more like juggling fatherhood, relationships, and small legal headaches, not masterminding hits in the street, and that's the real tragedy here. Because while headlines drag his name, the undeniable fact is that Ariela Mejia Polanco was brutally murdered in cold blood. She wasn't just another statistic. She was a rising influencer with over 550,000 followers, a nightlife queen loved at spots like Icon New York, and someone tied into hip-hop culture through figures like 6ix9ine and Cardi B. Ariela wasn't just another name in a headline. She was a vibrant spirit who lit up every room she walked into, a woman who built her own platform and left her mark on the nightlife scene. Her personality touched people, her influence stretched far, and her loss left a hole that can't be replaced. But her story also exposes something much darker: how rap beefs that start as entertainment can spiral into real-world violence. Remember, 6ix9ine admitted in federal court that he ordered attacks against Trippie Redd, while Trippie himself went on camera making threats about surveillance, family, and retaliation. Those aren't just words, they're patterns of behavior that show how obsession and ego can cross over into deadly territory. The investigation into Ariela's murder is still active. Some reports say police detained Nata Cartier for questioning, though no charges have been filed. Meanwhile, rumors keep swirling online. Some claim Ariela was targeted for providing info to authorities, others insist she was collateral damage in an attack meant for Cartier. None of these claims have been confirmed, but what's clear is that Ariela's death wasn't random, and someone out there knows the truth. Her tragic end is a chilling reminder. In the world surrounding figures like 6ix9ine, nothing stays just music. Nothing stays just online. It always risks bleeding into real life with devastating consequences. If you made it this far, sound off in the comments. Do you think Ariela was truly caught in the crossfire, or was she deliberately targeted? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want more deep dives like this.